In this video, I'm going to show you my current workflow in Photoshop and give you some tips on how to edit your macro photos and show you how to use certain tools in Photoshop. The first thing I do once I crop an image is I'll sharpen the image using Smart Sharpen. Smart Sharpen allows you to enhance the fine details in your macro photos by precisely adjusting the amount of sharpening applied to the image. With this tool, you can control the radius and reduce unwanted noise or halos, ensuring that the important textures in your subject stand out without making the photo look artificial or overly processed. Be careful when using sharpening tools because it can sometimes be easy to overdo it. Too much sharpening may introduce unwanted artifacts such as halos around the edges or excessive noise, which can detract from the natural appearance of your macro photo. After that, I will go over to Camera Raw Filter and make a few more changes. In here, I focus on adjusting the lighting, adding more vibrance, and adding a little bit more clarity to the photo. I'll add clarity by going to Effects and slightly increasing the texture and clarity sliders. This helps enhance the finer details and surface quality in the photo, making the subject appear more defined and crisp without making it look unnatural. I then go to the Color tool and increase the vibrance. Boosting vibrance is a great way to enhance the colors in your macro photo without oversaturating the image. Unlike saturation, which increases the intensity of all colors equally and can easily make your photo look unnatural, vibrance selectively targets the more muted tones, helping bring out the richness in your subject while protecting skin tones or already vivid areas from becoming too intense. Next, I begin to adjust the lighting in the photo, which is the most important part in my opinion. You can adjust the lighting in your photos by making changes using the Curve tool and the Light tool. The Curve tool is especially powerful for refining the tonal range of your image. It lets you brighten or darken specific areas without affecting the entire photo. By adding points to the curve and moving them up or down, you can bring out detail in the shadows or highlights, which is particularly useful in macro photography where subtle variations in light can make a big difference. The Light tool allows you to fine-tune settings like exposure, contrast, highlights, and shadows. Increasing the exposure can help reveal details that might be hidden in darker areas, while adjusting the contrast can make your subject stand out more sharply against the background. Be mindful not to push these adjustments too far, as overly bright highlights or deep shadows can reduce the natural look of your macro images. Instead, make small incremental changes and check your progress as you go to achieve a balanced result. Once I'm done adjusting the lighting, I'll normally go over to Selective Color tool. This tool is incredibly useful for fine-tuning specific color ranges in your macro photos without impacting the rest of your image. With Selective Color, you can adjust the levels of reds, yellows, greens, and other color channels to target only those areas where you want to intensify or mute a particular hue. For example, if your subject has vibrant greens, but the reds are looking dull, you can boost just the reds for a more balanced look. Similarly, you can reduce any unwanted color cast by adjusting individual color sliders, which can help maintain the natural appearance of your photo while it's still making the color pops. Another very helpful tool for adjusting colors and changing the mood of a photo is the Color Balance tool. With the Color Balance tool, you can shift the overall color tones in your image towards warmer or cooler hues, which can dramatically influence the atmosphere of your macro photo. For example, moving the sliders towards blue can create a cooler, more tranquil effect, while adding reds or yellows can give the photo a warmer or more vibrant feel. This is particularly useful when you want to correct an unwanted color cast or simply enhance the creative look of your shot. Once I'm done making color changes, I will finish up by making a few small changes to the light by first adding a touch of vignette, which helps draw the viewer's attention towards the center of the image and subtly darkens the edges. This effect can enhance the overall composition by naturally guiding the eye to your main subject without being too noticeable or distracting. I also make final adjustments to the light by moving the highlights and shadow sliders with the light and curve tools. The last thing I do in Camera Raw Filter is a little bit of color grading. Color grading allows me to set the overall mood and tone of the photo by adjusting the color balance in the shadows, midtones, and highlights. The last thing I normally do is make one final adjustment using the exposure tool. I use the exposure slider to make subtle tweaks, either by brightening or darkening the entire photo as needed. This helps to fine-tune the mood and guarantee that no areas are unintentionally underexposed or blown out. So overall with this photo, I kept things pretty simple by just adjusting the lighting, clarity, and colors. And this is how the majority of my editing goes nowadays, just easy, quick, and simple. A good tip that will make post-processing much easier for you is to get the photo right in camera. Capturing a well-exposed, sharp image with accurate colors straight from your camera will make your editing process much smoother and faster. When you nail the basics during the shoot, like proper focus, composition, and exposure, you won't have to spend as much time fixing issues later in Photoshop. This not only speeds up your workflow, but also helps maintain the natural quality of your macro photos. This next edit was pretty much the same workflow. I mainly focus on the lighting, clarity, and colors. My main goal with this photo was to make the orange and green colors more prominent. When editing, I concentrate on enhancing colors, especially strong contrasting ones like greens and orange, because I believe it's important for each color to stand out on their own. And that is because they can really create a dynamic and visually interesting composition. To achieve this, I paid close attention to how the colors interacted in the image, making sure not to oversaturate them, but instead finding a balance that allows each hue to shine without overpowering the others. By using selective color and color balance tools thoughtfully, I was able to make the greens and oranges pop while preserving natural transitions and keeping the overall look harmonious. This careful approach to color adjustment is something I recommend experimenting with in your own workflow, as it helps you develop a unique style that highlights your subject's best features. So overall, once again, pretty minimal edits to this photo with the main objective of making the contrasting colors stand out better. Building a workflow that works for you doesn't happen overnight, and it's perfectly normal for your process to evolve as your skills improve and your creative preferences shift. I will talk more about how to develop your own workflow while I edit the last photo in this video. Developing your own Photoshop workflow requires a combination of experimentation, consistency, and learning from each edit. Start by identifying the types of adjustments that best suit your style and the subjects you photograph most often. As you try different techniques, take note of what works well for your images and what doesn't. This will help you build a routine that feels intuitive and efficient. It honestly took me a while to finally develop my own editing style. Over time, I experimented with a variety of techniques and tools, often making mistakes and learning from them along the way. As I continued editing more photos, I started to recognize which adjustments consistently improved my images and which ones didn't align with the look I wanted to achieve. Gradually, I found myself gravitating towards a simpler, more streamlined process, one that focused on enhancing clarity, adjusting lighting, and bringing out natural colors without over-processing. This approach really helped speed up my workflow and overall just made things much easier for me. If you're just starting out, I know how difficult it can be trying to figure out the best approach to editing your photos in Photoshop. It can feel overwhelming with all the different tools and settings available, and it's easy to second guess your decisions. My advice is to begin with basics and gradually build your skills by experimenting with each tool. Don't worry about getting everything perfect the right way. Focus on learning what each adjustment does and how it affects your images. Start by working on one aspect at a time, like sharpening or adjusting lighting, and observe the results. As you gain experience, you will begin to recognize which changes help your photos stand out and which ones you prefer to avoid. Remember, developing your own workflow is a journey. You will make mistakes, but each edit is a chance to learn and refine your style. Over time, you will become more confident in your choices, and editing will begin to feel more natural and rewarding. But overall, I hope this video was helpful for you, and if it was, then consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content like this. I'll catch y'all in the next one.